Hey guys, it is almost the third week of June. It is so hot. It is so humid here in Central Virginia. We're going to have a 102 day, I think, Monday. It's like 95 today, 99, 100, 101, 102, 101. So it's really hot. It's really humid. We've had, what, 6 weeks of on and off heavy rain. So that means my tomatoes are having lots of blighty issues. Lots of little illnesses, disease starting to creep in. We're going to take care of our tomatoes for a nice summer harvest. A lot are getting close. I've already harvested a few tomatoes from our 2025 seedlings. So honeycomb was first, and second to produce was, what was it called? Foxfire Pink. And yesterday I picked my first two sun sugar cherry tomatoes. They were so good. I'll have a video later on my golden cherry tomatoes for 2025, but so far sun sugar beats honeycomb. Well, I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Start with a quick look at the cherry tomatoes. They are definitely going to be plentiful. They're looking so good. Some of the other tomatoes are looking good too. This is a determinate. This is called Jamestown. You can see that he has really got a lot of fruit production. And he will put out all of his fruit over the course of maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then he's done. So right now, I want to start a new round of determinates so that we have some fall tomatoes, which definitely come October, I'm going to want some more tomatoes. These guys are definitely at the point we need to switch over our game plan. We are now going to focus on not so much with growth. We're going to focus on fruit and plant health. So we're going to go make up a potion right now that is going to contain some phosphorus, some potassium, and we're going to get these guys fed. First, we're going to water though. I'm not going to take you long for that because it'll be boring. I may pop the video on here and there to talk about some disease issues because there are a lot of disease issues. Thinking, why in the heck do you have to water? You just had 6 weeks of heavy rain on and off. Well, guess what? In 2 days, my pots are completely dry and all the water just gets wicked away. So yeah, we got to water. Unfortunately, it's been nice when we do get days and days of rain not to water. But when we get to the 2 to 3 day mark, if it's this hot, I got to get the water hose out. So I'm going to get that done. I'll be back. We'll talk about some of the issues with these tomatoes. So what I'm going to do, fill these empty jugs almost to the top. I'm going to leave some headspace for this milk. I had some milk that was on the verge of going bad, and this is actually watered down milk. It was probably just half a gallon when I started. So milk to help feed the soil. I like to do that a lot when I've got milk going bad. Now, for the tomatoes, we're going to be putting in the More Bloom, which is a 0, no nitrogen, 10-10. So we're getting equal potassium and phosphorus. And this is just going to help with that, the flowers, the fruit, and that's what's going on right now. We got a lot of fruit production happening. Hopefully we still have some flowers that don't get knocked off in that heat wave that's coming, because usually you get above 80ish, 85, getting close to 90. Sometimes these will just turn black. They will not be happy because it's so hot. And I actually have a tomato plant. We'll go look at that later. Absolutely no flowers at all. Kind of worried about it. I'm gonna have to do a little research into that variety, but first I gotta figure out what variety it actually is. But I've been picking off a lot of these black kind of blossom things, because if I don't, I'll end up with some really ugly cat facing and ugly fruits eventually. So yeah, our plants are ready for a bloom formula. A month or so ago, I was feeding them more of a growth formula, but now we're moving into the bloom phase. Later, if they're still alive, 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks from now, that might be unlikely, but we might need to give them some more nitrogen at that point as well. And all of them did get a slow release organic fertilizer down at the planting hoe when they were planted. So something else we're going to work on today as we water and then we feed, we are going to try to pick off any blighty leaves that I find. There is one plant that I may actually have to pull. I'll show you that guy here in just a little bit. But for now, we can take care of early blight by just cutting off these leaves keeping the soil mulched so there's no splash up with the watering. This area, the mulch just keeps washing away. Maybe I'll do straw, but let's just get started. I'll go ahead and mix all this up. So I got 5 gallons filled almost to the top with water. I'm going to divide the milk. This is just to sprinkle around as we go because I have about 5-6 days before we get rain. The slugs have been absolutely atrocious with all the rain, and so they've been destroying everything. If I try to plant a seed, it actually gets sprouted. If the roly-polies don't eat the seeds or the birds, the slugs will take out the seedling. So we're going to put that down here and there. That's not in the container. I don't know. Was that making myself clear? It's like I'm having heat stroke out here. Maybe I'm not coherent. That is just sprinkled on the ground as we go. The milk is going in the container. The bloom formula is going to the container. That's it. Now, I did water the pots up here. I just stuck my finger about 2 knuckles down into the soil here. It's really not dry yet, so I'm going to hold off on watering some of the in-ground tomatoes. I'll check as we go. Probably the ones in the backyard are fine. Out front, they probably will need some water. But I'll check. Directions on the back. For most items, it's 1 to 2 tablespoons. Vegetables and herbs is 1 tablespoon. Perennials is 2, and then annuals and bedding plants is 1. So I'll probably just do 1.5 tablespoons in each gallon, and I think that'll be just perfect. On my upper deck, I have these 3 large containers. Each has 1 dwarf, or in this case, semi-determinate tomato, and an eggplant and parsley. So those 3 are grown together. They seem to be doing pretty well so far. I'm going to water them. I am going to put mosquito bits down in these containers because I have some issues with mosquitoes in this general area, and I think they are trying to nest down in these containers because they do stay relatively moist, although they are kind of dry right now because of our heat wave. Now, I did treat all of these guys with the bloom formula. You can see my ginger there is doing good. And I have another tomato over here on the upper deck that is a dwarf purple heart, and it's got some fruit on it. And he sometimes has been getting some of that early blight, but he immediately kind of just drops his leaves off, turns brown, drops off. Overall pretty healthy. I'm anxious to try this tomato for sure. Moving right along are these 4 containers full of my big slicers. Better view from up on the top step here of the deck. You can see some blighty issues. Yes. But one of these tomatoes, and I believe it's Kellogg's Breakfast, this one right here, has given me some trouble. And it may still give me some trouble. I do not like to see blighty yellow turning leaves up high like this. That always worries me. I'm going to pause the video and take you back about a weekish ago, maybe a week and a half. I actually had to cut off a whole arm, this plant. You can see it's healed over, but I believe there is actually an internal issue going on here with the entire plant. I really want to try this variety, so I've been just letting it ride to see what happens. Maybe that's the wrong choice. Maybe I should have just taken the whole plant out a week and a half ago. So let's go have a look. So what I've been seeing in this plant is the leaves start to fade, and they're uniformly completely yellow, a solid yellow by the time they do a complete transformation from a bright healthy green just to a solid yellow. There's no really any blight circles that you see like on blight. It's just kind of curious of what is going on. Now, I've had wilt before. I've had late blight before. Of course, I had tons of early blight. Did you see that center of the stem, the one that the arm I removed? That is kind of curious to me, and I'm not quite sure what it means just yet. Let's keep an eye on this plant. So here we are a week and a half later, and I'm starting to see the same discoloration starting in other leaf sets. Eventually they return this very neon bright yellow. This is different than my normal hot, humid, rainy weather blight. This is something totally different, and yeah, I don't know. Have you grown this tomato before and had an issue with it? I believe it is an heirloom, so it's probably not going to give me the same protection as some of my hybrids. And speaking of that, this is the tomato plant right here. I was telling you about that I could not find, well, there they are. There's a few buds. So, very, very late. The first set of buds on this plant, I'll put the name right here because I have to look at my my notebook to actually tell you what variety this is because I can't remember. Yeah, so finally we've got some development. Fruit buds, yay. Maybe it's a later maturing plant. And then we just had a look at, well, I don't even know what this one is either, but it does have some flowers. You can see the lighting is fading quickly. Yep, I'll put the name of this guy too. He does have some normal blighty issues going on. We're going to cut all that off. Not sure what to do about this Kellogg's Breakfast. And then this Prudence Purple has some blighty issues as well. And or maybe a little bit of what's going on with that guy. But he has some fruit. He was the first big slicer to develop fruit. And he is still growing. Eventually I will have to top him. Not sure how he's liking the heat. I have seen a lot of black blossoms on this one. So what I'm going to do right now, tie up if I need to. I have been tying up the last couple weeks. Eventually I'm going to have to tie up with some higher bamboo stakes that I like double stack. And then I will have to top these plants because they're just getting way too massive. For now, I'm going to cut off all the blighty leaves. I'm going to disinfect my pruners in between each plant. And then we're going to give them some of that bloom formula. And then we'll see how they're doing in a couple weeks. The sun is finally starting to set and I am so hot. I need a shower. I will be back in the morning. We will finish this job. I will still be wearing this over shirt because the mosquitoes are like relentless. And I'm wearing long pants too. I wanted to show you my cucumbers because not only should you be feeding things a bloom formula like tomatoes and peppers, but your cucumbers, they're working really hard. So let's take a look. I've already picked 5 cucumbers this week in the last 3 to 4 days. These guys are working really hard. So I just watered them. I'm also going to give them some of that bloom formula because they need to keep making me some fruit and some cucumbers until those little guys there grow up. I've got 1, 2, 3. And they can take the place of these 3 plants here on the trellis. They'll be nice and tired at that point, ready to be cut out. But yes, I'm going to give them some bloom feed as well. It is the next morning, late morning. I've been out here working for a bit. Got these guys done. They still need to get tied up. What I'll do is take some bamboo sticks and zip tie them together to make them about 10 feet tall. But I did prune all the suspicious leaves that had any issues. Definitely will still keep an eye on the Kellogg's Breakfast. Fingers crossed. Maybe it was just too much water. Don't think that's the issue, but it could have been. The leaves were just so yellow and bright. Did notice some eggs. So I'm starting to find eggs underneath leaves. So we will get rid of these eggs for sure and keep going. We've got a lot to get done. Okay, so I got all of the container plants in front of the deck taken care of. So I want to show you this example. This is also the determinate called Jamestown. You can see it looks totally different when it grows in part sun. In full sun, it's bushy, it's very productive all at once. I've got a tall, lanky kind of a determinate plant right here. I do have some flower production. I have a little bit of fruit production, but not as much by far. Huge difference. This plant definitely needs full sun. And then this guy is a dwarf called Tennessee Suited. He is also very elongated compared to his twin, which is in full sun, both in containers, just like their part sun twins here. Just to kind of do a little bit of a comparison. I've got a Foxfire Pink. It's been doing well here, very well here. So I need to make a note of that. And I also have one plant in the ground. This is Blushing Star. So I'm going to go ahead. I've been picking the fruits off of here. Looks like I can pick this one because it's starting to blush. And if I don't, the squirrels and chipmunks will. So these guys have been pruned. Lots of leaves taken off. Fed them with our bloom formula. And I think they're good for now. These guys will also need tying up within the next week. More tying up. This is my backyard Whitmore growing in part sun. I have one out front growing in full sun. We'll go look at him later this evening because it's really, really hot. I'm going to have to take a break here in a minute. He looks okay. I have been picking off leaves here and there as I see them, as I go about normal activities throughout the week. See just a few little questionable blighty leaves I could just pinch off. But overall, kind of pleased with this guy. It does look like I've got some fruits, what would have been fruits, some buds that are just going to fall off because they're not viable. This one might be viable. Yeah, this guy's viable. There we go. Yay. Wonderful tomato. Love this tomato. Just got to keep the plant healthy. And then this is a sun sugar, extra one I had, so I just stuck it there. So I'm going to check the moisture level with both of these. If they need to be watered, I'll water them, and then I will give them both their bloom formula. See if I need to tie up a little bit. I think I do. And then we will move right along over there to that monster mess. See the early girls behind me? They're pretty well stable at this point. I'll just pinch off just a few leaves, give them that bloom formula. These guys are done. The deck, all the deck tomatoes, front of the deck, middle of the backyard. I'm taking a break. It's like 500 degrees out here. I'll be back tonight though. I'll bring you back. Same spot. Next day, all the little early blight leaves have been removed from these early girls. There's 4. You can see I'm doing a little trick you can implement if you have shorter growing space vertically. And you can only do this when your tomato plants are still pliable. But I like to kind of bend mine to point downward when I run out of height for growing. And these guys were very much accommodating, and this will just help me out a little bit temporarily with some space. But they look good. So I did water them this morning after I pruned, and then I fed them. They look great. Now it is time for me to go take a break. The real feel is about 103 right now. Very hot, very sweaty, sweat in my eye. But this is summer, right? And this is helping to dry out a lot of that disease and fungus issues that were trying to take hold of my tomato plants. So quick break. When I get a little shade back here, I'm going to move over to this section. I've got more tomatoes in my secondary L-shaped bed there. They look fairly okay from here, but up close may not be the same story. They definitely probably need to get watered. It's really hot. It is actually the next day. Super hot today. Real feel right now at this time of day is 110 degrees. But look, it's shady over here, so I can finally work on these guys because that tomato there, that poor Prudence Purple, he was so wilted when the sun was directly on him earlier. So I have been soaking his container. The water hose is over there dripping now. I'm going to prune up all those horrible, horrible leaves. We're going to leave all the wilty stuff because it was related to the hot weather and the sun beating down. It's not a disease. He does have blight though. I'm going to cut all that off. We're going to water everyone else in this area. These guys are actually acting like nice little strong plants. That is Tennessee suited. I kind of like that plant because 1, it's compacted. 2, it does get some issue on its leaves, but it immediately kind of turns brown and dry and it drops its own leaves. I kind of like that. I like when plants do that. The purple, the dwarf purple heart has been doing that for me as well. Haven't seen any yellow blighty stuff. Both of these 2 dwarf plants have just been getting like these brown lesions, brown leaves, and then they just fall and I throw them away. This is actually the dwarf purple heart right here. I have not trimmed off any of those leaves, I'd say in the last week and a half-ish. It made it through all that last bit of rain and humidity, and it has been going strong. I think we're on day 3 or 4 of a heat wave. This is Eva Purple. We'll trim them up if they need it, and all of these guys need to get tied up and supported a little bit better. The Prudence Purple though is not tolerating our weather too well right now, so I'm gonna have to make a note about that. Let's have a closer look. So he's had water now for an hour or so. My husband came out here and he watered the container. I came out, it seems still a little dry, so I've been adding more, and now it's just dripping in there. And he has perked up a little bit. You can see though, he is not happy. Now, some of this will perk back up. He should be okay. 2 days later, everyone looks great that we worked on the 24th in this section, except for this guy. Yep. I think he just got damaged too much, so he's coming out. I gave him 2 days to recover. I don't think there's no coming back from this, to be honest. I don't think it's wilt. I've seen that before. I could be wrong, but I really think it's heat stress, heat damage. All right, this is me giving this plant its best chance at recovery. I'm taking off the stuff that will absolutely not recover. You can see in here. Type of, I'm gonna speculate, cellular damage inside the stem when it got so dehydrated. Most of the leaves that were severely dehydrated and looking rough are gone. And so we'll check on this plant in a couple weeks. It had already lost all of its flowers, so we didn't lose any fruit production. Looks a lot better already. I'm gonna water it really well right now. It did not get water yesterday. It was just too hot for me to even come outside. But definitely this needs to get cut off. These blighty leaves. Eva Purple, really pleased. Now this one has struggled with a bit of disease issue from the beginning, and I've just been cutting off the leaves. But the other Eva Purples are looking pretty good. So I've got a game plan for all the tomatoes in this section. Water well, tie up, cut off blight leaves, disease leaves, and then we're going to move into the raised bed area with the tomatoes. Over there, there's a lot and probably a lot of work to be done. But before we go into the front yard and also the raised bed area, I need to talk to you about this. This is my hot pepper potion that I made about 3 to 4 years ago. I just refilled it with a little water because it was almost down to, I'd say, the quarter line. And all this is peppers, hot peppers that are dehydrated and ground up. Like a lot of hot peppers and water. That's it. No hot sauce, nothing with vinegar. It's just ground up hot peppers and water. And so when my tomatoes look like this, when they're shiny, there's a better example over here. When they're starting to get that look about them where they're going to start to blush, where they're turning from green to a little bit of a hazy, kind of yellowy color, and they're nice and bright, I'm going to spray them with this. Because guess what? The squirrels, the chipmunks, they are already knocking my tomatoes off in the raised bed area, knocking them down. So they're already climbing. They're already looking for cherry tomatoes. They've been eating my cherry tomatoes. Now when they come over here, as these fruits start to ripen just a little bit more and they smell it, they're like, oh, I'm going to eat those tomatoes. They're going to come over here and this hot pepper residue is going to be right there. And so that's going to say to them, okay, these are not good. These are not for me to eat. I'm going to leave them alone. So that's what I do every summer around this time to protect my tomatoes. Because if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have any tomatoes. The squirrels and chipmunks, they're just numerous. They live in the woods and they come here to eat every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. To get to work on these tomatoes in the raised bed area, there's a bunch of them. They don't look too happy at the moment, but I do see some big tomatoes in there. Not ripe. So the shade has now reached the green peppers and the onions. So I think it's almost about ready to cover this raised bed with the big slicers. So I think I'll hop in there, get to work tying up, cutting off the blight. I noticed the Prudence Purple is prone. I don't know if this is going to be a keeper for me. You can also see how it is wilting in the sun. Not sure if this plant is going to work out in a location. I really thought it would. I tell you, my black prim in the backyard did so well last year. I'm kind of regretting not planting it again this year for the backyard. I noticed just a second ago that we have some major issues up front of the raised bed area, like this tomato plant looks very wilty, very sad, needs to get tied up. And then look at those peppers over there. They are so dry. I've got to get the water hose over there soaking while I go work. The problem is the bees are everywhere. The thyme has bloomed. The thyme has taken over everything. And if I step in it, I might get stung. Okay, I made it. I made it. Yes, they are super active. How lovely, though. I'd love to have just a field of thyme someday for the bees. So I'm just going to put this hose on, leave it in that container for a bit, and those guys should perk right back up. That is Chocolate Beauty, Red Impact. Also need some water. And then I've got 3 Dwarf Purple Heart. They look pretty good. I think this might be a keeper plant for me. I haven't even tasted it yet. Just going off of how it's growing through all of these extreme weather conditions. I think I'm going to like that plant. I do have a Prudence Purple back there as well. Seems to be doing pretty good in that location. Maybe that's something to take a note of too. This little guy was so thirsty. He started coming over as soon as I started watering this pot, just so he could lick up some of the water. I need to put some of my little containers with rocks out for them and fill them with water every morning. They are so thirsty and it is so hot. Watered, cantaloupe, weeded and watered. There's actually 2 babies right there. So excited. I think that's super sugar cube. I'm so anxious to try it. Mountain mint, watered. This container, watered. Serrano pepper back there, watered. I need to tie up the Prudence Purple, but the bees will not let me. So I'll wait until they are not active. Then I can walk through the flowering time. Cayenne pepper. It's got lots of fruits coming on. Watered. Hardy hibiscus in containers. Watered. Now, I'm going to give everyone the bloom formula, and then I'm going to head back to the raised bed area after Gatorade break and cooling off for a little bit. Looks like I will also be picking some cherry tomatoes today. I just noticed my first red cherry tomato is ready. I'm going to try it right now. After a nice long soak, this guy is looking much perkier and happier. Now, I moved on to getting these containers watered. This guy needs to get watered as well. Thankfully, finally, one of my tromboncinos germinated. I have to reseed twice. Each time, the first time 2 seeds, the second time 2 seeds, and then finally just one guy is germinated, which is great. This tomato is Blushing Star. It's looking pretty good. It's getting pretty big as well. Look at the fruits. There's quite a few back in here. And then the fruit there, and the one right there, 99% sure that is Dr. Witchy's. Looks like there's another Dr. Witchy's over there. Yay. I really need some tomatoes. All right, as soon as I get the containers watered, we're gonna make our way into the raised bed. As you can tell, the sun went past the trees, so it feels much nicer out here. Very much tolerable compared to what it was just a few hours ago. All right, so while I'm watering some of the tomatoes behind me, I'm gonna harvest some of these cherry tomatoes. This variety, I have to double check, this is Honey Drop. And the reason why I have to keep it straight is I'm doing a taste test. So this is Honey Drop here. And then I've got Sun Sugar over there. And then I've got Honeycomb on this corner. I've already tasted a lot of honeycomb. It's been the first cherry tomato, first tomato of 2025 to produce. So I know what that tastes like. Seems to be pretty productive. Been picking them for, I'd say, a week and a half-ish, maybe 2 weeks. But the Honey Drop, no. The Sun Sugar was my 3rd tomato of 2025 to produce. So I've eaten a few of these the past 5 to 7 days. I have not had the Honey Drop yet. I've never had the Honey Drop. So I'm going to pick the ones that are blushing. And then as soon as they're ripe, I will taste test them with the Sun Sugar. I'm going to keep them separate. So we'll say Honey drop is the lighter color bowl. And then I'll put the sun sugar in that one. I did pick Braveheart already. This is Braveheart in the middle. There's 2 Bravehearts, 2 sun sugars, 2 of the honey drop. I am getting everyone watered back in the raised bed area. I'm not going to have time to clean up these blight leaves. That can wait till tomorrow morning. I'll come out, hopefully before it gets too hot, and I will have to water. Probably again, maybe not. But I am going to clean them up, tie them up, get rid of all these leaves, and yes, they need to get fed as well with this bloom formula. But for now, I need to go out front, check on a few tomatoes, because I have a feeling those guys are in more desperate need of attention right now than these guys. Even though these look a little rough, this is normal southern hot humid blight issue. So I'm not super duper worried. There could even be a little bit of septoria on this leaf here. It's okay, I get all that. It's just part of being here in this humid environment. I do see lots of fruits, and that is encouraging. This purple prudence, though, is already showing signs, just like the other one, of not tolerating the heat. So I'm going to do research tonight when I get in and see if this is really probably not something I should be growing. But I did my research beforehand when I bought the seeds. Here is a view of the Prudence Purple from a different angle. Same plant. It's doing that wilty, like I've been out in the heat all day, droop on the top, just like the one in the backyard. It's got some black blossoms, and it does have some fruit. That's good. Hopefully I'll get to try it before this plant comes out. I don't think this is wilt. I think this is related to heat, because it just happened when we got this hot weather. And we do have some septoria right there. It's pretty common right now too. So, yep. It is too dark to work on my tomato plants or see. I am going to spray them though with this hot pepper water, because the deer have been nibbling on my tomato plants in the front yard. So we will just spray. And then when they come back tonight to take a nibble, they will know that these are off limits. Tomorrow morning, I have to get out here, work on these guys, tie them up, feed them, prune, make sure they're healthy. Looks like a few of my silver slicers are taken off, which is great. Now we've got this big old tomato mess to deal with. The deer have been munching. Cannot do anything about it tonight because it'll all get washed away if I do like my hot pepper wash or spray some deer repellent. So I'll take care of that after this round of thunderstorms. This is Braveheart. Still hopefully going to get some tomatoes. It looks like the deer did crack the stem, and there is a lot of growth on that stem, so goodness, I will try to fix this as best as I can. I think I'll just have to put it up on a trellis, but that will mean more deer munching probably. They are pretty vicious here. We are in front of my house right now, and I have 3 tomato plants integrated into the landscape. I've got 2 of the Foxfire Pink right here with the beautiful knockout rose. And I'm going to tell you, I'm loving this variety much more than I liked Artisan Blush last summer. It's very delicious, delicate. Knock on wood, so far the fruits have not split. And then I've got a dwarf Purple Heart. Let's get a closer look. This is the back side of my knockout rose with the 2 Foxfire Pink. Oh, there's some tomatoes down there. I need to get those. Yes, I forgot to get my basket. Goodness. Some down there as well. Okay. And then we have got quite a few of the Purple Heart right here. This guy's actually doing really well in this location. Really impressed with this plant so far. I hope I love the fruit, because if I do, this is definitely going to be a keeper for me. Okay, So he needs to get some rainwater from the thunderstorm coming soon. So do these other guys. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw some of the bloom formula in and not water right now. I picked a bunch of them, and it looks like one has exploded in my pocket. I needed that basket. There is a cute little inchworm. Well, we have made it to my last section of tomatoes. These are my front yard tomatoes that I'm hiding from the HOA. The deer, though, have been nibbling, as you can see. But overall, they look fairly healthy as far as blight issues, disease issues, except for Whitmore. So this is my front yard Whitmore. I see some issues from here. Look at those leaves. Let's get a closer look. So he has, I think that might be blight. What I don't like is it's starting at the top. He's got a lot of die off of fruit buds, flowers, probably from the heat, probably from the sun, probably from being out here in full sun. So I'm gonna clean him up. Really don't like seeing leaves with discoloration up top, but he looks healthy. I mean, he looks sturdy. I don't see any wilt, knock on wood. Just clean him up, give him his bloom formula, hope for the best. Right now it's looking like the backyard part sun is going to produce first, which surprises me. I really didn't expect this, but because of the heat, the sun, I would say most of these buds are no good. They're just going to be coming right off. See, it's lost so many. Very interesting. Now, it is supposed to cool off. Well, it'll be in the mid 80s to 90s. That'll be much better than what we have. Like right now, it's 8 p.m., 75% humidity, and it's about 92 degrees. That's not good. I'm sweating to death. Yeah, so if we can get back down low 80s, mid 80s, keep it there or less, the tomatoes will start to perk up, and I think be much happier, stop dropping all their blossoms. I mean, this poor guy, look at how many he's lost. That's so sad. And this was the tomato I needed for my grandma for when she visits. She really wanted to try this tomato. All right, guys, well, that's going to conclude my late June going into July weather extreme tomato care video. Lots of issues. First, we had way too much rain for way too long, and then we've had excessive heat for like a week plus, and of course I'm dealing with all the normal issues like deer nibbling and, you know, slugs and all those other issues. But I'm glad you were here. I hope you learned something. If so, I'd love a like or a comment would be great. I hope you guys are doing great and you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will talk to you soon, and I hope you're staying nice and cool.